All right, so stages of drug approval. There's 4 stages of drug approval. The first one is the pre-phase, and this is when they have a new drug compound. It might be something that a scientist may think will help with this particular disease, and they will start off with a few preliminary studies, but most of the studies they do are computer models. If at any time while they're doing this computer model, if something doesn't come out right, they think that it may cause some issues with the animal, that it may not work, they will stop the testing at this point. They will not go any farther. At stage 2, there's 2 phases kind of in stage 2. There is phase 1, and this is when they do preclinical testing. They use mice, rats, they may use a target species depending on what it is. They also start to do toxicity studies at this point. So if at any point with this toxicity, if there is any toxicity, it stops right here. They do not go any farther in developing the drugs. So when they're doing this, they do toxic evaluation. So a toxic evaluation, it's the they determine the dose at which a drug, biological, or pesticide will induce tissue or organ damage that may cause permanent damage or death. So the other definitions you need to know are carcinogenicity. This is the potential to cause cancer. And tetragenicity, this is the potential to cause birth defects. So all of these are taken into account in phase 1. Stage 2, phase 1. So in stage 2, phase 2, this is when they actually start doing clinical testings on the target species. A dog, a cat, maybe it's a horse. And here again, they're looking at short-term toxicity, long-term side effects, and adverse side effects. If at any point they start to see some that cause too much, that cause an animal to die or causes some major defects, they're going to stop the testing right here. So there's some other terms to know. LD50. LD50 is the lethal dose, and this is the lethal dose. This is where 50% of the animals die, right? So at this point, they've given the medication. If 50% of the animals die, that is the lethal dose. There's also ED50. This is the effective dose. And at this point, this is 50% of the animals have the defined effect. So if the effect is for pain management, 50% of the animals have some, this helps with pain management of 50% of the animals. They also talk about therapeutic index, and therapeutic index is the space between the lethal dose and the effective dose, okay? So we have our LD50 and our ED50, and this is the therapeutic dose, or the therapeutic index. And we'll talk more about range and how they determine how much drug to give in the next talk. So in stage 3, phase 3, this is when they start and they will make the NADA, or the new animal drug application. They turn in all their research, okay, and they may turn it into either the FDA, which regulates drug making, the USDA, which does biologicals, so they do vaccines, okay, and then the EPA, they do pesticides. So things like frontline, flea and tick, other pesticide type material. While they're going through these, they continue with studies, okay, and if something changes at this point, they will stop production. And then we come on to stage 4. And this is stage 4, phase 4, and this is post-marketing surveillance. So this happens from the company who's making the product. It also is surveillanced by government agencies. It's important when a new drug comes out that we report adverse reactions or other concerns. Usually there's a 1-800 number you can call. You want to report new drugs because there could be problems that they have not recognized, especially long-term problems.